You made it, huh?
Man, listen, this is hard to get out of Cleveland. Yeah. Listen, I know I don't really like Cleveland like that.
Nah, you needed a pivot.
Man, listen, I need to drink one right now because, yeah, that Cleveland airport is...
Well, man, listen, it's been a while since we sat down and did a three-man, bro. Pivot three-man Tuesday at that. Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, and Ryan Clark. Pivot fam, thank y'all for pivoting with us. You know, Chan, man, I guess there really ain't nowhere to start but here. Sierra was on the Breakfast Club.
Man, Charlamagne.
Charlamagne being petty. Charlamagne was being messy.
Yeah.
And even when she was answering the question, she was like who? And he said, Channing Crowder.
He should have. Because that's... I saw it, I did, and I saw answer. And then she want to go back to, but he's a loving person and a great husband. I didn't say he's not a great husband. It's amazing what he's doing with Lil Future. Like, the dude is a good human. He is lame still. I don't know if anybody doesn't understand. They're not running me off of this point. Lame is an opinion. She even said it. So who's saying, because that's their opinion? Yeah. She's from Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. She wasn't going to date Russ back in 2000.
Evolution,
Time came
though.
forward. She evolved to
Evolution.
dating the lame dude. He is a good person, a good human being, but the dude is lame. Y'all know what lame is. Bro, you know how many people, I'm not putting nobody else in my boat because I'm peddling this by myself. I've talked to a number of people that's like, bro, you're right. He's not like that. He's inner city Atlanta dude is not hanging out with Russell Wilson. That's what I'm saying. It's lame. The dude does not, he got that moose shit in his hair. Honestly, bro, y'all looking around because y'all even know I'm right. The dude is not a cool person, but that's my opinion.
Right.
You go find the boys that play at Wisconsin and Nebraska, they'll hang out with us. A dude from inner city Atlanta is not hanging out with Russell Wilson. That's what I say. Lame to me is different than lame to y'all, is different than lame to... I guarantee him and Logan Mankins would get along. You see what y'all understand what I'm saying? I guarantee him and some square-ass dude from somewhere would get along. I'm looking at him and saying, man, I never with him, he's lame. That's my point. It's opinion, lame, cool's opinion, and y'all ain't running me off of this forever.
No, I'm not trying to run you off it. Obviously, your opinion is yours. I didn't expect you to double down on it, but...
What you want me to do? Say, oh, he's cool now.
No,
it's in his blood, it's in his kidneys, his liver, his gallbladder, his intestines. Lame is all through him, and it's gonna be there his whole life, Freddie.
I'm gonna say this. So you have culture, right? Society, and then there's a box. Then you have what's considered social norms. He's not in there in a lot of people's opinion, which is for you.
Yeah.
So when I look at, I have a son who's on the spectrum, right? And he's not what you might consider socially acceptable all the time because he's a bit socially awkward. That doesn't make him corny or lame. What I learned to lead with is, as a parent, I want to direct my thoughts or reserve my thoughts towards people by how I view my children. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Before I say something about a person, I'm gonna always say, what if that was my child? Then I can make an opinion on that. I told you last time, the first time that whole thing came out, when the corny thing came out about Russ, when we first did it, that wasn't the intent to go viral for saying it. What I said was, I think Russ is cool. He's not us. Like, he's not gonna be hanging out in the clubs with us. That's just me. I know a lot of guys ain't gonna go and go where I go or do the things I do, right? That doesn't mean he's corny.
He wears white drawers, the little tight ones. That's just, he's not, I'm not fooling with that. From where I come from, I'm not fooling with that dude.
Yeah, so I think for me, first off, hearing Charlamagne say your name when referencing Russell Wilson was a little stunning, but that's what they do, you know, on the show. I thought Sierra handled it like a woman and with a ton of class. She didn't want to get into name calling.
Right.
And as far as the Russell Wilson piece, I believe Doug Baldwin, Mike Robb, and Marshawn just had a conversation, and they talked about Hawaiian shirts and flood waters or whatever it might be. And there is the time, especially in our culture, where some of those things aren't cool. And cool is a big thing to us because we got some cool mother effers in our culture, right? And that's part of kind of all you have. I think where I felt things went left was when DJ Envy brought up because he loves his wife or because he loves his children. The coolest thing about Russell Wilson is the way he loves his family. One of the coolest things and most honorable things any man, any woman can do is take care of a child that's not theirs. We got an opportunity to meet Future at Pittsburgh camp. I got an opportunity to meet him at the Pro Bowl, and there is no difference between that child and the children that Russell Wilson and Sierra made together. And to me, there is a certain point where we just have to start focusing on who people are and how they live life. As far as me, the way he lives life, the way he takes care of his wife, the way he takes care of his children, the way he has raised another man's children, that child, that's always going to be cool to me. That's always going to be something that us as a show will continue to keep off limits and that we won't get into, because I'm never attacking a way that a man lives his life based on his family when he's doing it the right way as anything but honorable. And so I think when I look back at that moment that made us go viral, what we didn't do was give people the entire context of who he was. Right. And we do have to be careful when having conversations about couples and how one person's reality is different from our perception. And so I think, you know, if we had to do it again, I would do it differently, which is why I did it differently here. I think it also brings to the point kind of what Ray Lewis said about Shannon Sharp. Right? Ray Lewis went into the Shannon Sharp thing saying that Shannon's changed. He wasn't a drinker. He wasn't a smoker. Now his content, where it's gotten into how podcasts are sort of people talking about relationship. Everybody's a relationship expert. I thought that was very interesting from a person who knows Shannon very well.
Yeah, that's the only thing I got from it is that they've had a relationship for so long and the things he said aren't fabricated. Because obviously they're really good friends and teammates, and he knows who Shannon is. Before all of the camera stuff, sometimes people can get cameras in front of them and change, do a complete 180. So I never knew like Shannon personally prior to the podcast. I just knew him as a player, right? So I can't double down for Ray and say whether it's true or not, but you know, Ray doesn't do a lot. So when he speak, you know, it's gonna actually travel. Now, I don't know, man. Ray tries to live his life a certain way. And, you know, I do know he's always trying to be positive. He always tries to speak from a spiritual point of view and always try and lead like children in the next generation in the right direction. And that's his calling. You know, when I get a chance to speak to him, he's like, man, I don't want to. We've tried to invite him on this show several times. And his hesitation is drama. He doesn't know what the outcome is going to be. But the outcome he gets from all the other shows is another reason why he hasn't accepted, you know, our invite. But eventually, hopefully, it'll happen at some point. But yeah, it was surprising to hear the comments because I thought they were super tight. But obviously, his main line in that interview was that, you know, he chose that lane, and that ain't a lane I'm trying to run down.
Yeah, we've seen it. We didn't even talk about it. That football fame and that media fame is different. Your ass is crazy famous.
I don't want to be.
You're now compared to football,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fred, motherfuckers thought you died. That nigga went in the lake. He laid down in the dirty ass lake up there in Belgrade.
The lake ain't dirty.
But it does. But I'm messing around. But it gets to people, and I think it got to Shannon. I think that next hit, because he was Sterling's little brother with the lisp. That's what I called him. I called him, that's Sterling Sharp little brother with the lisp, because he talked with a heavy tone. He got a tongue reduction because he started talking better. But bro, that next hit, Shannon Sharp is more famous than he's ever been in his life right now. And I think it gets to some. You see the people that get to it, and I think it got to him. And I think Ray was speaking on that. Was that, like you said, but no, Shannon was just under the radar, hard-working dude. And I think that media spike got to him, and then people can't deal with it sometimes. So you're a Hall of Fame player, but then people outside of sports know you. That's what happened to it. I was traveling today. We laughing about it. Why do people in Cleveland run up to me? Damn, man, tell Freddie I said, what's up? Yes, sir, yes, sir. Like, it's a different type of fame when you're on this level, and I think it got to Shannon. Man, I hope he get out of there and, you know, the little girl and all the money he lost, you know, that's what I'm mad about. He fumbled the bag. Damn, you fumbled that bag? I wish I had that bag to fumble.
Yeah, I think Ray Lewis, though, fell victim to the exact same thing he ended up sort of condemning by the time he was finished talking about Shannon Sharpe. I don't know what their relationship was, right? And so when you have a relationship, sometimes there are things that go on personally that make you view a person different. But I think the one thing that Ray Lewis should understand more than any of us is grace and redemption, right? Ray Lewis went through something extremely public that could have ruined him as a player and as a person. And now people have allowed Ray to grow far enough away from that to where they do see him as a spiritual leader, to where they do see him as a leader of men. And so when he's speaking on that platform in that manner about Shannon Sharpe, one, in order to accept his words, we had to accept him and forgive whatever transgressions people felt took him away from being the Ray Lewis they knew at that time and allow him to grow back into it. And so I think he has to think about that as well. And as far as like any money or any fame, like money doesn't change people. It only enhances your desires and who you are. And the thing you got to do when you're looking at entertainment, right? Because this is entertainment, is do I want to become a caricature of myself? And if my priority is money, what am I willing to give up in order to get money? Am I willing to give up my integrity? Am I willing to give up my character? Am I willing to turn into something different to get the money, right? And it's like some people rather lose as themselves than win as something else. Some people just want to win at all costs. And I'm not saying that Shannon has done that. All I'm saying is we actually don't know, right? And so when you're speaking on who somebody is from personal experience, Ray can do that. I can't. You know, all I know is when I've been around him, he's been good to me. I know he's picked up the phone and hollered at me. He's definitely done things that I disagree with, things that I wouldn't choose or do for myself. But it's also not on me to condemn him in the manner that now people have to look at my past and say, okay, is this somebody that should be saying those things? And I think for Ray, it is a situation of like, if that's supposed to be your guy, if you are living in the way that Christ has led you, right, where is that grace? Where is that compassion? And so I think, you know, you got to look at it from so many different angles. And, you know, like it brings me to something different is we got grace or condemnation for Arch Manning's play.
Oh, boy.
He looked great.
Who?
Arch didn't look great.
Hey, fella, is Arch like Eli? Look how he look.
Seventh grade Eli. Man, the expectations, his granddaddy's a Hall of Famer. Both his uncles gonna be Hall of Famers. He Cooper's boy. Cooper got hurt or whatever. They say Cooper could ball.
Cooper was extremely athletic. He's the most athletic of them all.
Arch is set up to fail. 2 generations of Hall of Famers in his family, and now they throwing this little boy in the game. Quinn Ewers beat him out last year. I'm watching Quinn Ewers play right now. If he can beat Arch Manning, shit. What is Arch Manning? Bro, I think Arch can play ball, but the expectations on him and the money they're giving that boy, because his last name's Manning, is too big for him, bro. He's going to figure it out. I've seen him play better, and now you see all the breakdown and sidearm and blah, 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 all that goofy stuff. He's never going to be either one of his uncles. And that's what people are comparing him to. Or he ain't gonna be his damn granddaddy. He's not. New Orleans is about to tank to get him and put him in more pressure when they want him to be his granddaddy. Bro, the man that set up the field, man, I'm not lying to y'all. Watch what happens.
When they talk about generations, right? Especially financially, by the time they get to like the third or fourth generation, ain't no money left, right? I don't know if the Manning mystique is gonna be, or how much of the Manning mystique is gonna be there for Arch, but I will say one thing, I do wanna give him grace. It's week one. With all those expectations, right? The amount of money he's making, the last name, Texas, people expect this to be the Texas season. I don't think they asked to be number one, right? Then you have Ohio State, the team that won it all last year. In week one, they not slouches. They won it all for a reason. They brought back a lot of guys. They still deep. They recruited well. They pay people a ton of money. So Texas, when it's the big games, the big games, Texas had not really performed up to the standards of those big time games, in my opinion. They played well a year ago, right? They missed out. The big teams that were supposed to be in it at the end, they earned it, they were there. And Texas wasn't one of them. So I do want to give Arch grace and say it's just week one against a very dominant opponent. And I want to see how his season goes before I actually go out there and try to evaluate and judge him. I thought the two big interceptions, those were awful, right? Mm-hmm. Ohio State made plays, those are awful. But overall, as a team, I believe Texas might have something because it wasn't a blowout. It was a pretty good game, but as far as Arch, the jury's still out.
The problem with Arch Manning is more so other people than him. He didn't ask for these expectations. Other people gave him these expectations without doing their due diligence. Arch Manning, period, point blank, is neither a generational nor transcendent talent. Arch Manning can't run like Lenoris Sellers. He can't throw like Garrett Nussmeier or Bryce Underwood. He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not Caleb Williams. Those guys were what people felt like were generational, can't miss college quarterbacks, right? College football talents. And they were. You want me to explain to you how they were? Kelly Bryant was the quarterback when Trevor Lawrence got to Clemson. They went to the college football playoff semifinal. Kelly Bryant ended up finishing his career in Missouri because he was replaced in the middle of the year by Trevor Lawrence because he's a transcendent talent. Caleb Williams goes into Oklahoma, and Spencer Rattler, at least at the time, who's the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints right now, was the starting quarterback, presumptive #1 overall pick, and Heisman frontrunner. By the middle of the season, he was on the bench too and headed to South Carolina because Caleb Williams is a transcendent talent, a generational talent. Arch Manning sat 2 years behind Quinn Ewers, who was a 7th round pick. And not only did he sit behind him, Quinn got hurt, Arch played, and they put Quinn back in the game. And his last name is Manning. You don't do that for somebody who's gonna be the first overall pick, gonna win the Heisman as a junior, is gonna leave school and be the dude that everybody expects him to be. Here's the other thing. I'm from New Orleans, right? I know what Newman High School football looks like. They don't play anybody. In his last high school game, his team got blown out. People who are gonna go on to wear gold jackets and go on to be starters in college right away don't lose in small school football by getting blown out by people who don't have any pros on their team. It just don't happen at that position. Bryce Underwood goes to Michigan. He starts the day he walks in because he's a generational, transcendent talent. So here's what we need to do. We got to let Arch be. We got to let Arch go play. I think he's going to be a good football player. For the next 3 games, they play people that they're going to have to pay $2 million to come to Texas and play. And he's going to blow them out, and he's going to play really well, and then we're going to get all excited until he goes to Florida, and then we'll see. But for me, it was what everybody else was saying about him. And here's the thing that Trevor Lawrence did and Caleb Williams did to prove and let you know who they were. The Bryce Youngs, the C.J. Strouds, the Trevors, the Justin Fields, all of them earned their stripes standing next to the other best quarterbacks in the world on the camp circuit. He never went. He never competed. He never stood toe-to-toe with him. He wasn't like C.J. Stroud that had to look at Bryce Young and say, I'm about to show you why I should be the Elite 11 MVP. He never did none of those things. So when you stand across from Ohio State, that's the first time you ever looked at some real dudes and said, I got to go compete and win. That's tough.
But he got that Manning, that long Manning face. He got that big face with the long temples.
What does that have to do with football?
I don't know, but you can tell a Manning when you see one, because they got that little funny, that little cartoon head.
Football is here, and Toyota, bro, they are all in all season. It's a whole nother season of big-time game day giveaways, and they're the official automotive partner of the NFL, and so they are ready to reward fans.
You say all season?
All season.
All in, all season. 22 weeks, 22 chances to win.
Man, Toyota, I love it. They done dove into football this season. My man Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers, slinging that thing. He just partnered with Toyota.
And all you have to do is be ready to predict the big plays that can happen in the second half of Sunday night football games, and you can win big prizes.
Hey, it's all types of prizes. You can win NFL shop merch, gift cards, and you can even win Brock Purdy Sequoia.
Head over to toyota.com/NFL to learn more. That's toyota.com/NFL.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Ends on February 8th, 2026. Open to legal residents of the 50 U.S. states and D.C. 18 and over. For complete details, how to enter, prizes, and official rules, visit www.toyotasgamedaygiveaways.com.
You know what's, I think, even, and a lot of people have been tweeting about it, I hate that it's now become like
Shador
versus everybody and all that. But that's probably the last time we anticipated the first game of a junior quarterbacks, right? A quarterback with lineage or pedigree anticipated their first start like that. Shador against a lesser talent was on the road against TCU and he went crazy. Obviously Arch had a tougher opponent. It didn't go as well. But to me, the Sanders family, bro, is going through it right now. You know, Deion dealing with his health. Shiloh puts out a statement, you know, and it always hurts me when so young, which he does, when so young you have to go to, I can do a lot of other things, right? And then also Shador is now third on the depth chart in Cleveland. What do you kind of think about what the Sanders family is dealing with right now as a whole?
Man, it got to me seeing Deion tear up. This is the first time that none of his sons ran out with him on the field. And you saw it like that was a comfort level. That's Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? That's prime time. I had his shoes. I wore his shoes when he played on turf. Man, I was in high school. Like, that's Deion. And just seeing that, having sons now, so that got to me emotionally. But it's like we talk about Shiloh and Shador. I speak on both of them. I watched the games. Shador Sanders is about to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns here coming up in a month or two. Joe Flacco is 716 years old. Joe, we talk with Joe's on inside the NFL stuff. Joe's a cool dude. Joe's my dad's age. Joe about to go out. The other little itty bitty boy, what's his name?
Dylan Gabriel, the little tiny boy, no chance. Shador's about to lead the Cleveland Browns. That's what it's gonna do. Shiloh, very nice kid. Met him, been around him, we've been up there with them and all. Evaluation of football players, he misses a lot of tackles, and he's really not a man-to-man coverage guy. That's not a thing that works in the league. And emotionally, knowing Prime and knowing that, like, I can watch the games and say Shiloh can't play at this level. I hope somebody gives him a chance. He probably will get another chance because Deion's your dad. And it's like Bronny. Bronny's sitting on the end of the bench with LeBron because LeBron's his dad. Shiloh might get another shot because Deion's your dad. Y'all can't play professional football. Honest, and listen, the Deion, the Sanders family, I love them. Bucky, my man, all of them, like they're good. There are some people that can't play at that level. That's why they call it the 1% of the 1%.
Right.
Shador is special. Shiloh saw that he wasn't. And that's what happened on that with the Sanders family. But Deion breaking down, Deion tearing up, that got to me as a father because, you know, I'd be in the garage working out with LaChan and all that now, and it made me think, like, damn, at some point, D-Wait's about to get dusty because I'm not coming out here by myself. I'm not doing nothing out here if LaChan ain't here. And then Chad's going to come through. And I'm really not going back out here. You might well burn these motherfuckers up if there's no kids in the house. So it made me even think about that, where I'm working out now because of my children. And Dion, for it to hit Dion like that got to me because I got my 3 kids.
Talking about Prime, his health was something he was just dealing with. You talking about the draft, talking about his health. He hasn't had time to really compartmentalize that moment prior to that moment. So I believe it kind of caught him off guard. And the young receiver who said, let's take the walk, I'm sure all of that just weighed on him at that very moment, which led to the tears, right? But such an amazing tradition for him to be able to share and spend with his kids, during their time there in Colorado. So I believe that, it just was a moment that I loved. I loved every piece of it. I think going forward, he's gonna be able to say, all right, I get to think about my boys when it's time to go out and think about all the memories that happened, but there's a job at hand, right? Because somebody at some point during the game forgot that it was a job at hand because they were supposed to call them damn timeout. But that's a whole nother story,
They left with
right?
2 of them.
They left with 2 of them. But it was just a beautiful moment, man, just to see Prime show his vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
As a coach and as a dad. Now, I disagree with you on Shiloh. I think Shiloh is certainly a guy who should have made that Tampa squad. You can't do those things that he did in preseason. When you're borderline like that, young players, when you're borderline, teams don't need those distractions. They don't need the headaches. And granted, the amount of money he was fined, which was like $5,000 or whatever, he didn't make that the entire preseason. Now he's in debt with the NFL. But you can't make those type of in-the-moment type decisions and fight, right? So I think that kind of helped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' decision to go ahead and cut him and say, all right, this is an example that we don't want to deal with. But I think he's going to be back in the league somewhere, my opinion. Totally no, don't interrupt me. It's my opinion. Shador, to be able to be on that roster as a 3rd quarterback, he has an opportunity. That's the only thing you can ask for in the NFL is opportunity. RC doesn't seem to believe what you said about him being a starter this season, unless certain things align for him.
Things got to happen.
But, he has an opportunity. And just because he's 3rd now doesn't always mean he's going to be 3rd the entirety of the season. He could be 1, like you said. Or he could possibly not be on the team. Things got to happen. But he has to continue to keep his faith. He has to study, double down on that, and show up as he's always showing up. Don't flinch. That's the one thing I love about the kid is he hasn't flinched throughout this entire process. From the expectations in college, he's been calm, cool. He knows who he is. He knows the last name on his back, and that's what I respect the most about Shador, about Shiloh, and also about Prime. They know who they are. They don't waver away from it. They're ready for any challenge. Whatever the expectations are, I think they're always aligned and ready to double down to show you that we're cut from a different cloth. This is what we're made of, and we're gonna always show up.
Yeah, when I think of what the Sanders family is dealing with now, I think of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have set for you, declared the Lord. Plans to prosper and not hurt you. Plans for hope in the future. That's what they have to believe in right now. Prime always talks about faith, and we obviously saw that he felt like he was blessed to even have an opportunity to go back and coach those boys. When I looked at him and Isaiah Harge walking together, here's what I thought. For the first time, he's not grabbing his boys to walk and have a conversation to lead them. Somebody's grabbing him to take care of him in an emotional time where he doesn't have his boys. And what that brought to my mind was lack of control. He has always controlled what is going on in their lives. He was their high school coach. Shiloh left South Carolina to come play for him. Obviously, Shador goes to Jackson State, then Colorado. The draft was the first time that not only did he have to accept that, but the world showed it. You can't get Shiloh drafted at all. You can't get Shador drafted where you believe he should go. And then now you saw more of it. Shador, fighting as hard as he can, playing well against Carolina, not playing as well in the last preseason game, even though some things were stacked against him. Now you end up being third. How are you going to respond? Shiloh, I don't know if the film said you should have made it or not. But what you can't do is give people a reason.
Right.
He gave them a reason. Now, how are you going to respond? With the preparation that these young men have had, I don't think it even matters how well they play. It matters how well they live. What sort of way they show up at work if you're Shador? What sort of way do you show up in life if you're Shiloh? When do you get that next opportunity? What do you do with it? And so for me, it's saying, is everything that Deion has lived and preached his entire life truly instilled in him and his boys? And I think if they can do that and they can believe that God has a plan, they have to remember you don't get to write your plans in pen. Only God does. And I think that's going to be huge for them going forward.
But I don't even want to say this, Fred and Ryan, because I know younger players watch this. Y'all know this is performance-based. Y'all play with some wild boys. If you can play ball, like Shiloh slapping people, what if that was Mika Fitzpatrick? What if that was Gardner Johnson? You're a starting safety. They can fight, and they're not getting cut because they can play at a very high level, Fred. That's what you do, and that's where your judge is on that film, to be honest.
They have no leverage. He has no leverage.
It's also
because he's not that
But here's
good.
the thing, though. It's also why I said I don't know if the film said you could have made it. You don't give them a reason, right? Because it could have been that he was going to be cut anyway, right? I don't want to be at my house thinking to myself, is that why?
Right.
I want to know I got cut because I wasn't good enough. I got cut because the numbers weren't in my favor. I got cut because my film wasn't hot enough. I don't want that feeling. And my other problem with it too is the entire world thinks that's why, when you are right. If you go out and you play at a certain level, then that does not matter. But this is where we are, which is why I say you can't give them anything. You can't give them a crack. And you know too, people will attack. I mean, Taylor Townsend has been balling. I know Ava used to play tennis and, like she's been balling, but, she gets attacked. She's playing Yelena, what is it? Ostapenko.
You know I can't.
Yeah, let me before I mess it up.
It depends on you, RC.
Yeah, I know.
Ostapenko.
Yeah, I was actually right.
I saw the
That is,
video.
yeah. She was actually playing Yelena Ostapenko, and she called her uneducated. And then Taylor kind of responded afterwards and told the reporter, she called me classless, uneducated, and it kind of sparked this debate on, some of it was talked about racial bias and racism and discrimination, but also the criticism Taylor Townsend has received about her weight, her looks, all those things, and now to have to deal with this, what are some of your thoughts on kind of what her U.S. Open has revealed to the world or taught you?
I mean, I look at it like, in the NBA, you have fans that come to the game and, they're talking about people's families, they're being disrespectful in the stands, they're calling players out their name. Same thing in the NFL. We have not seen this in tennis. I don't believe. I don't recall seeing it in tennis. And I believe everything that's on the court should be left on the court. None should really ever carry off, right? But this is society. It's always been there. Whether we've seen it, up close or not, it's always been there. And our society here in the States is different than people in other places, internationally or abroad. Those comments were certainly uncalled for. But again, I think those players, they got to understand when it's fiery competition, things are going to be said, but things like that should never be allowed. And then to also double down on that, you don't talk about the lady's weight. She's doing things that only 1% of people in the world can do. To be able to make it to that level, on that stage, half the people out there that's talking trash, they don't deserve to, but it's normalized. That's what people do. They pick on anything, and they don't stand for anything, right? So, Taylor, man, just keep grinding. Realize that you're fulfilling and living your dream. regardless of what people say, think, continue to move forward. Screw them. Screw them. It's simple for me. Just forget about them. Keep grinding.
Yeah, I would say, because Ava did play. She was homeschooled for a while playing tennis. That gentle lady stuff, like, it's 2025. Like, don't cheer for a missed point. You can cheer for an ace. You couldn't get to that damn ball, little girl. Like, I would clap, and people be like, no, you can't cheer, because, no, shit, that was a great shot by my daughter. I think they go overboard with that gentle lady game stuff, too. Now, being there, because that's game, they playing that shit since 1871 or something. I don't know when it was. But I do think the cultural differences is what it is. And I don't want to say everybody wants to jump to racism. I don't think it's racism. I think it's differences in culture. You're not, like, she wanted to, Taylor was wide open, flexing and all. They don't do that wherever. It's a Blinkies one. What's his name? It's a Sapo. Ostapinko. They probably don't do that. They probably don't celebrate. They're not like that where it's from. So I agree with you. Cultures are different, but then you're supposed to get on this court and put everything out and just play in these lines of what it's been since the 1400s or whatever. That's unrealistic with the tennis, what people want tennis to be. And that's what it was. I don't really think it was racist. I think that girl, like, uneducated.
She said that in her apology, actually.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is she uneducated? You don't know her schooling. You have no class, but I celebrate when I make a play.
She said it was about a warm-up. She said she warmed up the wrong way.
I don't know how you like to warm up, Issa Blanco. I don't know how. Like, it's tennis, bro. I swear to God, I was in it for years. The whole setup is goofy. And now you got people flying from all around the world. Warm up. I'm serving now. Don't return my serves. Well, I want to get ready to return. They don't have these conversations. I'm about to try to whoop your ass. You about to try to whoop my ass. Yeah. And now we have to talk about it like gentlemen and gentlewomen. I think that concept, I honestly believe the tennis, whatever that is, the tennis culture, bro, I was a part of it, and I hated it every step of the way.
I think the thing is, it seems like Taylor Townsend has been sort of the recipient of these criticisms and these treatments more than other people. And when you say a black woman is uneducated, that's not something new for black women to hear. It's not something new for our communities to hear. And it's not one of those things that screams overt racism, right? But it does scream racial bias, right? It does scream demeaning. It does scream devaluing, right? And if you want to say there was a lack of professional class or sportsmanship based on the way somebody warmed up, that's one thing. But to immediately go to somebody being uneducated, especially for an African-American woman, that's way too close to the way that you're characterized so many times and demeaned in our own country. Now, I don't know what Ostapinko is used to in Latvia, wherever she's from. But here, that's not something you do. And then you think about Taylor Townsend as well when people speak about her weight or her look. Listen, this is the first woman ever that reached #1 in doubles after having a child. That's an accomplishment. The way she played throughout this tournament, that's an accomplishment. And she talked about her son, AJ, saying, you know what, Mom? It's okay. And she was talking about losing, and she was like, that's the sort of joy I'm trying to embody. And I love the fact that she smiled at the post-match interview. I love the fact that she had joy, because she deserves to. Mm-hmm. And it also speaks to why representation is important, why Althea Gibson was important, why Venus and Serena Williams are important, Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, because we need to be able to see these women excel and also be able to watch them deal with the adversities publicly that so many black women deal with privately. So many black women don't get to say out loud. And so I thought for me to watch her, the way she played, and not only the way she played, but the way she handled adversity, the way she was strong in what she felt, strong in what she believed. And then even, as they often do, she showed Yelena grace when she apologized. And so I thought it was just an overall great display of class for Taylor Townsend and athleticism when you look at the way, she was able to play.
Channing, RC, now this is a pivot. This is a crazy pivot. You seen the OnlyFans model who's talking about she needs $1,000 deposit?
That was a joke, in fairness.
It was?
She said it was a joke. She said she was she said afterwards, she said she was trying to defend women against broke men. Huh? It was a joke.
That
Your
ain't
ass
a joke.
is broke.
A joke?
Sasha, her name is, Sasha Vickery is her name. And
Tennis, right?
tennis, yeah, she plays tennis. She was in the U.S. Open for a little bit.
It was her net worth because she want to call people broke. That's my thing. Now, men, we're all rich. So I'm just fighting for men.
And that's not
He
true.
broke, he's broke, he's broke. Your ass is broke too. Get broke together so both of y'all rub y'all pennies together and now y'all can make a baby dime. I hate that when they be like, oh, what are you gonna do for me? What you gonna do for him? Cause no, you want equality. Everybody wants equality. But the man's supposed to be rich. And your ass wear the same drawers every day, gotta wash them every night. That's what upsets me. Now, if you let me know this she got bread, so if you walk in.
Her entire time on the tour, she's earned $2 million.
And so she had to pay taxes on that. Where's she from? I do the math.
She probably just got standards. Maybe the $1,000.
Standards of what? You have the standards for yourself. Why do you need to watch my pockets?
So here's
Control yourself.
So here's what's crazy about it. What comes to mind though is like, if you really aren't great at tennis, you don't necessarily make a lot of money. Like the highest she's ever been is 73. And I'm not gonna lie, I went to her regular page because I was like, okay, is this something that she normally does? I mean, she's in bathing suits and all of these different things, and I'm sure that's how the OnlyFans content started. She was doing something with Nick Kyrgios, actually, right? And that's kind of how it started. And, if she's been playing tennis that long, bro, and she's only made $2 million overall with paying people to coach her and all that, she ain't got no money. Like she really doesn't. And if you go on OnlyFans and you get 6 figures in the first 3 months, like that money's intoxicating, right? Like it's why sometimes like you see strippers who over the hill, or you be trying to ask dude, hey man, like, are you gonna drug deal forever or are you gonna try to invest this money and get out of the game?
Right.
When you getting fast money, like when you getting cash, like it's hard to give that up. And now she has to be a part of like some code of conduct, right? So she can't do certain things on OnlyFans, but Paige Van Zandt did the same thing. She fight MMA. Liz Cambridge did the same thing. Say she would make way more money doing that than being in the WNBA. And so like, you can't be mad at them. If it's a way for them to make money, if it's something that's legal, then go ahead and do it. But I do think there's a part of it that it's like, all right, but I'm also supposed to take you seriously in your craft. And then when you make a joke about, oh, nah, you got to pay me $1,000 deposit to go on a date, that sounds way too close to escort and prostitution.
Yeah.
Right? When you already got an OnlyFans. And so you got to have the self-awareness that, yeah, you can ha-ha and kiki and hit me with the JK, the LOLs, and all the faces you want in the emojis. But I'm seeing OnlyFans, I'm hearing $1,000 for a deposit. Then the next question would be from a man, well, what do I get for that? And now we going into something totally different. And so I think you do have to be careful and walk a certain line with that, where we got to be respectful in the way that we talk about it, but we got to be real too. Like there's some, hey, I think I look a certain way, I can make money doing this. How far are you willing to take it though? And you got to be able to toe that line.
Yeah, just real quick. Usually deposits go towards something, right?
Yeah.
The deposit, if I'm going out to a club, I need a deposit on the table. That deposit...
Give me some bottles.
It's going to give me some bottles, so it goes towards whatever I spend the rest of the night.
Yeah.
That's just to get me in the door. So it does sound like escorting and all that different stuff. But maybe she had the Crackle Barrel playbook, where they was talking about changing the logo. And then they went back just to draw attention, free marketing. Maybe she just want people to come to her OnlyFans page. Who knows?
I done been to Cracker Barrel a lot of times, and those pancakes do not taste like racism to me.
They don't. The pancakes don't.
Hey,
They don't.
Do y'all know what could I get on OnlyFans?
Nothing.
Nothing. Not $1, because you got to wash your booty to be on OnlyFans.
Nothing.
You
What
cannot-
is it like? Is it a
People
nasty-
might
it's
pull
a
up and
nasty
see you.
site?
It don't have to be. You could like actually go work out on OnlyFans and sell the content.
Like me and you. Like,
Yeah,
if
like,
me
y'all
and
can take
you
y'all
go
shirts
fishing.
off.
I'm not going on OnlyFans with me and you together.
Like if we go fishing, I have my shirt
fishing.
off
I
and you
thought
have
was-
your shirt
I thought
off.
that was a secret
That could be
code.
OnlyFans. OnlyFans
So
nipples.
me and you take our shirts off
And fish.
together.
That could be OnlyFans.
And we'll get people, and they pay me monthly.
They probably wouldn't pay you based on your body count.
Why do y'all do this to me?
It's a subscription.
I mean, they're not gonna subscribe to what they can see when they go visit their daddy.
I see.
Okay, start of the season, fellas, because this is ridiculous. Start of the season, Freddie T. Is there a favorite game to start a season that you had, or what are your thoughts on a storyline this season, or what you were excited about? Just something as we kick off the NFL season.
Hey, look, man, y'all know I'm a homer. Duval. So we got a new coach, right? For me, I think the city of Jacksonville has been reinvigorated with, Liam coming to town with where Baselli is, seeing Trevor, in year 5 for Trevor, year 5, 6, 5. So we want to make sure Trevor is ready to do his thing, man, with a new coach, new D coordinator, new everything, right? New money being spent in the stadium. I'm just excited for the city, man. Hopefully this is the year. We've been waiting for some time, and I know it sounds generic, always you the homer. I'm serious. On the outside looking in, if it was something else, I would want to know what the Jaguars would be doing. And also, your team.
Yeah.
Your team might have the most media coverage the entirety of the season because people want to know you guys have had some drama, you've lost some big name players. They're saying Mike is on the hot seat. I don't know. I want to see what the Dolphins are going to do because we're here local. I get a lot of the news, so I pay attention to it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm interested in these coach quarterback combinations, the new ones. The Pete Carroll and Geno, who was at the Las Vegas. Interested to see, because Pete's Super Bowl champion now.
Yep.
Pete's Super Bowl champion. Vrabel and Drake May. I heard a lot of good stuff about
One
Drake
I just
May.
mentioned.
Yeah, and then
Liam and Trevor?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what Liam did with Baker.
like that, I hate. Bro, I would love when I was young to get them 13, 10 games. That's over in football. You got to score 25 plus points.
Yeah.
So we got to see it. RC, I don't know if I'm still in it. I want him to adopt me. I know this, Mike Tomlin. For him to have Aaron Rodgers now with that defense and those weapons that they brought in, bro, the AFC is already loaded, and I really think Pittsburgh can run with all of them. So I'm interested to see what Mike T can do with A-Rod.
Man, you know what? I'm excited, man. I think back to 2006 when we opened with the Miami Dolphins after winning the Super Bowl. And it made me think about, like, first games. Like, I remember going into that game, nobody was still talking to me. Like, I ain't had no friends. All I had was Tyrone Carter. And when the week started, Ben had to have an emergency appendectomy. Like, he walks in, he's like, oh, my stomach. So now Ben's out, so we rocking with Charlie Batch, right? The game's tight, everything's going on. And I remember, man, like the third quarter, Tyrone Carter sits next to me, man. He looks at me, he goes, you deserve it. You deserve the spot. You deserve to earn it. And so, like, that was like the first time I actually felt like, damn, like somebody here wants me. Somebody here believes in me. And then I remember, man, the game's tight. Ronnie Brown scores 2 touchdowns. Charlie Batch drops back. I think Chan's over there. You probably was talking stuff like, hey, throw at me. And we all know tight ends eat you up anyway. Heath Miller.
What happened again?
Heath Miller catches Heath Miller gets the post corner, 87 yards, scores the touchdown, but he actually stepped out of bounds. And so we kicking the field goal. Saban's waiting. Nick Saban throws the challenge flag. They don't get the challenge. Ref walks over to him. He's like, man, I ain't see it. Ain't nothing I can do for you. And then Peasy gets the pick, returns it 42 yards. Coach Cowher comes off the sideline. Coach Cowher's chin, he's like, oh, you mother. And then Peasy give him a kiss. Get up off me and we win. That was the first time that I was like, holy shit, I'm a fucking Steeler. It was the coolest night ever, bro.
Wasn't very good for me.
Hey, you gotta live like that. All right, man, so I wanted to start something new. Since it's the Tuesday show, give us an opportunity to just share one thought. If we want to, we don't have to. just call it like a pivotal point because I know people watch this for wisdom, for some shine a light or educate. And because we're talking about like actual topics and actual things, we don't sometimes get to do that. So I wanted to open up the floor to either one of you. If you have one, it could be fun, it could be serious, whatever you want.
I just came from Farrell, Pennsylvania. So Randy passed, we talked about it on the show already. He said, don't put me in no box. He said, cremate me and have a bunch of parties, was his request. So man, I just went to Farrell and talked to cousins I didn't know, teachers, his high school basketball coach gave me a bunch of pictures. He gave me a reel-to-reel. Where am I gonna play a reel-to-reel? I'm like, Coach Schultz, Schultz? Like, where did I put this at? He had a reel-to-reel thing. But I heard so much stuff I wish I could have asked my dad about his side of the story. So like that whole thing, and I think I said it last time we talked, man, that thing like celebrate me when I'm alive, talk about me when I'm alive. Like I'm starting to feel that way. And I tell everybody in my family, my kids, my wife, sisters, I love you when I got off the phone, and I've been slipping on it lately. I'm talking about every time, even, hey, I'm at the gas station, want something? No, I'm good. Love you, bye. And now, if it's not a long time, I started slipping on saying I love you every time. I wish I told my dad I loved him.
Damn.
The last time I talked to him. I really did. We walking out the house, I didn't know no different. Messing around with him, man, get your ass out of bed, it's noon. Man, fuck you, Chan. Hey, I'm going to work. Man, have a good day. That was our last conversation. I wish after that I said I love you, and he would have said it back. So that's
real. Man,
appreciate people while they're around. If you got stories to tell folks, tell them, but tell people you love them more than you should. Make it, I'm uncomfortably telling people I love them now.
I love that.
Yeah, I think I'm not there where you are. And I try to do it the best I can, you know, when I see and cross people. But in terms of something pivotal, I don't know, man. I think the last couple months, the last 2 months, actually, when I went on this journey to try to reclaim myself from a health standpoint, right? Just being mindful of trying to live for others, not just for myself. When I look at my children, I try and make sure that, or try to give myself a chance to be here for them. And we don't know, you know, life's journey, right? But you can give yourself a chance. And that's sort of what I started to do the last couple of months. I know we kind of joke and kid about, you know, me lifting weights or working out or losing weight and all that stuff. No, but serious, I wanted to be purposeful in things that I started to do, right? I wanted to start looking at impact and being an influence and trying to be an example on how I move. So it's been simple for me. I just try and keep those things in the forefront and try and move with a little bit more discipline without having a drink. I think for the first time in my life, I haven't gone 60 days without having a drink. And I feel good about it, right? And not to say I couldn't do it, but I just wanted to remind myself and show myself and tell myself that I could. You know, when I look at RC, in the last, I don't know, about 3 years or so.
3 years in a week.
You know what I'm saying? So those things, you know, I'm excited for your journey. And I know you don't have a set date on when you will drink or not drink. It's your journey and you've been feeling good, and that's how I feel, right? That's so just having some purpose in that. And really this, when we talk about never too late to pivot, and this ain't a marketing pitch or no shit like that, no ad read. You know, I'm excited about this. And the fact that we have a community that has come out to show that they really support it, right? So we'll do more with it, I know. And yeah, man, I'm just excited where we are and the things that we're doing and what we've built. And the fact that we have people that truly, truly support, you know, our movement, man. So it's good.
Man, y'all made me feel bad because my pivotal point has nothing to do with anything serious.
What you got? What you got, brother?
For all the young brothers that are watching this, if Travis Kelce told you anything, if she ain't never out your league, you just gotta get in the same stadium. Don't sit at your house and be like she too pretty or her job's too good or she ain't gonna want me because I don't make enough money, because that ain't true. If you gotta make a friendship bracelet, make a friendship bracelet. If she a barista at Starbucks, when you go order your cold brew, ask her, hey, while you're writing down Ryan on there, write your name. If you gotta go buy a flower, if you gotta invite her to brunch, if you gotta figure out something cool and some way to talk to her, do it. Maybe you ain't got a podcast. Maybe you ain't got 3 Super Bowls. Maybe you ain't finna be a future Hall of Famer, but you could be somebody. Cut your hair, get some nice clothes, put on some cologne, brush your teeth, and shoot your shot. The worst thing she could say is no. The best thing that could happen is you could marry the biggest pop star in the world and she's a billionaire and you get to be a kept man. All you gotta do is hit the weights, work out, go to concerts, and enjoy yourself. So just remember, she ain't out your league. You just gotta get in the same stadium. This been The Pivot.
I used to use Sugarfoot.
Happy Father's Day, and welcome to a special Pivot. It's a pivotal conversation. And today we bring you Las Vegas Raiders running back coach, Jalen McCullough. Imagine searching for your birth parents your entire life, only to find your birth mother and she tell you that your mentor and one of your closest friends is actually your father. That's the story of Jalen McCullough and Sherman Smith. It's a happy Father's Day for them and a happy Father's Day for us. Thank you.
There you go. Look good.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Chan, you can't hide money, Chan.
Nah,
Can't
Chan,
have
you can't hide
I got
money,
to the point
Chan.
where I ain't trying to no
Hey, you
more.
can't hide money, Chan.
I got to the point where I ain't even gonna try to no more.
RC,
That's what happened when you be in the NFL running back room.
Can't hide money.
I told him he looked like he can still get downhill.
He look good, man.
Hey, that's nothing but band work and push-ups, man. That's it.
Listen.
If I took these off right here, you'd be looking at this right here.
I try to tell people when they tell me that, I say I got on the male version of Spanx. I just hold it all together.
Man.
I ain't running no rock.
That's
man.
it.
I love it.
That's it.
Coach, welcome to the show. Jalen McCullough runs in the family.
Yep.
Right? Book out now with Sarah Spain,
Yes,
who
sir.
actually connected us. Thank you so much, Sarah. Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, and Ryan Clark, Pivot Fam. Thank you for pivoting with us. There's so much to get into this story, right? I've been trying to weave through ways of like, okay, how I'm gonna start the show so people know. And I guess the simple way is a man that was actually born, John Kenneth Briggs, who grew up as Jalen Scott McCullough, was actually the son of Sherman Smith and didn't know it.
Nope.
When you go your whole life searching for an identity and you start to piece it together, and the final piece of that is that Sherman Smith, a man that was a mentor and a father figure for you your entire life, is your actual biological father. The moment you learn that, what's your first thought?
Blessed. Because I've said this before, man. I mean, you know, somebody who had always longed for that connection with a father, you know, just man to guide me through. And I just seen other guys with fathers and just what a father represents. I'd always longed for that so much. So even during the recruiting process and just the connection I had with Coach Smith, it was special. And man, when ultimately I found out who my dad was, it was like, if you was to tell me the people you know, make a list of if you could pick one of those guys to be your actual father, he'd have been right on the top.
Man, that's amazing. I read that people would say, hey man, y'all look alike, or they would make fun of the sort of father-son bond that you had on your internship and different things like that. And you said even through those moments, you never thought to yourself, wait, this could possibly be my father. Did you feel a little bit foolish for having been around him all of those years and never had that thought?
I'm gonna tell you, man, I just felt like it was all God. It just happened for a reason, you know, and it's crazy how, you know, my dad think back, he said, you know, I wasn't in his life, like day by day, he said, but I was in the theater, I was in the movie theater, I was there, I seen what was going on because of the connection that we had. So, you know, you go back to when I was at Miami and getting recruited and then ultimately went there, I mean, that was the running joke. Oh man, you look like Sherm, you look like Sherm, you look like Sherm. Didn't think anything about it. Fast forward however many years to 2014, I'm out in Seattle for this internship, and that was the running joke, like, hey man, something is up here. You guys look alike, point alike, and I didn't think anything about it.
How cool is it to be able to be like, that's what dad says?
That's it. I mean, it's super cool. You know, I mean, it's like, come on, you couldn't have scripted anything like this, you know. So just so, man, honored and blessed to be in the position I am. But I'm telling you, man, it put it like a high bar for me because my dad is outstanding. You know what I'm saying? So it really make me like, man, but that's what you want in a dad, right? Somebody you strive to be like him. And I'm like, man, I ain't never gonna reach that mark, but man, now I got a person that I can talk to on a constant basis who is about the right thing, man, who love me and just gonna support me and be there for me, that I have that outlet now. So
That's
man,
awesome.
I'm happy, I'm fired up.
Coach, you got multiple kids now. We all do. We know how babies are made. We know how they're conceived.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
say
Oh,
that.
Lord.
Yes.
What about from Shrooms' side when it clicked to him? What's your mama's name? You know what I'm saying? Because I know you got with your mom.
Yeah.
Tell the story about, you know what I'm saying, getting your biological mom and then now finding out, and the whole story is crazy, but that click of, oh, this ain't a joke. This is real.
Yeah, so I mean, it was crazy. So I'm at SC and, you know, I end up finding out, well, there was a law in a House bill that was going through in Pennsylvania I was born in Pennsylvania, that opened up the adoption records. So I ultimately got the adoption record and got what's called your original birth record. And went through, tracked down my mom, and one night, found her the next night. And I spoke to her, she told me who my dad was and everything. I know you went the story about my dad. So then I reached out to my dad. It's like, so I'm on West Coast. I reached out, I was like, it's early, you know, and I sent him a text. I say, hey, coach, I need to talk to you about something. So I thought he was gonna text me back. That's what he normally, hey, what's a good time or whatever. And he called. I'm like, oh man, I wasn't like prepared to have that conversation. So I got on there and I said, hey man, you know I'm adopted. He's like, yeah, because he knew that from recruiting me. He's like, yeah, I know that, you know, I know. I said, man, I've been, you know, went through this process and I found my biological mom. So my dad is, you know, really strong in his faith. Oh man, God is good, man, that's a blessing. I said, a little bit more. I said, there's another piece to this now. And I ran it straight like this. I just went straight through. I said, her name is Carol Briggs. I asked her who was my father and she said you. I said, just like that. And he was quiet for a second, and he said, oh, I know Carol. I do know Carol. So that's where it kind of got going from there. And then, I mean, you know, and it's in the book, I'm excited because I've been looking for my biological family all my life, you know. It go from 0 to having a son for him. I didn't even process that. Yeah. And he told me, I mean, he cut the conversation quick, like, hey man, you know what, Dylan, I need to get off the phone with you. I need to process this. So it kind of set me back for a second. But when I sat back 10, 20 minutes after and I said, let's think about him. He went from, and then he ultimately reached out to me and said, he said, look, your mom knew she had you. You knew you had parents out there. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. So just that time to process that. And then I kind of had a great conversation with him in between that, texting him, just like, hey, we're all good. I ain't trying to get nothing from you. I'm straight, you know? But we had already had a great relationship. So all we did is just took it to the next level.
The other part too, and you know this from being a father and being present in your children's lives, good men want that. They want to be able to have raised that child. They want the opportunity to be able to have had the true father-son connection. And I can only imagine me being my age, and if I were to find out I had an adult son, the level of guilt I would have, even though it wasn't my fault, right? It wasn't like he knew about you and didn't want to be a part of your life, but like you said, a God-fearing man, a good man, a man that loves his family, like you want to be a part of that, and some of that like was stolen from him. So I could only imagine, you know, him having to process it, and then you being on the other end like, man, I'm happy as heck.
Yeah. I'm fired up. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And that's how I was, man. I was giddy. I'm, oh man, reaching out to all my boys. Yeah, man, you know, hey, what y'all thought was true. What y'all thought was true. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like just blown away.
Right.
You know, so he didn't initially have that because he had to process what he had to process. And the thing is, he sat back and he said, you know what? Because of the things you said, the reputation he had, what he built his adult life on was being responsible, being accountable, and all these different things, you know, and that's what I said to him. You didn't know, you know, and kind of released some of that as he was going through his process. And then he came back and he was good. He was good
That's
after
awesome.
that. Yep.
You know, they say the apple doesn't fall far. Coach was a hell of a running back. So were you yourself. You know, he coached under Coach Carroll. Now here you are coaching under Coach Carroll. I mean, just all of the similarities and the work that God does to put you guys in those similar situations. Do you ever sit back and just think like, man, all of this was like just meant to happen?
You feel like it's scripted because, I mean, I look at my, you know, me and my dad we're from Youngstown. You say, that's kind of, you know, there's similarity there, but he grew up with his parents, you know, both parents, and shoot, I grew up in a situation that was different than his. Let me say it like that. I mean, it's kind of well chronicled, man. My mom, I believe, did it as best as job as she could do under the circumstances, you know. But I grew up different than him. I had different challenges. I had different things, obstacles that I had to overcome. And when you look at them in totality, you like, man, somebody had to have their hand on you, because it was so many times I self wanted to go off. Hey, look, I'm trying to go do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? My boy is doing this and doing that. Hey, man, God, I like that car, man. I'm working at Kentucky Fried Chicken. My boy, he's selling, man, I want to do that. I want to do some things because I was so conscious of what I didn't have, you know, and now as an adult, I look back and say, man, I kind of had everything I needed to get me to the point where I am.
I got two questions running in my head, and I don't know which one I want to get to. But you mentioned scripted. Like, so The Blind Side was a pretty good movie, right? And you have your book.
Yeah.
Any potential chances to go on screen?
It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure?
Yeah.
What
I
happened?
mean, well, initially, so after the ESPN piece came out, we won the Emmy Award and all that stuff. Great. So the initial thought was a movie. So we gathered up a team, started putting together like pitches, different things like that. This was a couple years ago, coming off COVID. And the pitches went great, I thought. You know, just people was like, oh, I don't know how I market it. We just it was good, but obviously not good enough. So me and Sarah, we kind of took a step back, and then we had Simon & Schuster, who's one of the bigger publishing houses in the country, reach out and say, we want to do a book with this. And a couple years, you know, we getting through this book, man, I'm telling you, it was some parts of this, once, like I seen the first draft of this book, because it was like raw and uncut, I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it, because you getting to see this as a person who hasn't processed like how you grew up, and now you just having this conversation. Then you go back and read it, and you're like, man, it's worse than all these, you know, you get all these emotions when you think back to, you know, how you grew up and how you judge some things and how you look at some things. And you got to just be mature about it. But we smoothed off some of them edges. You know what I'm saying? I still got to go home now. Right. I don't want them to put a gate up like, bro, you can't come back into this town. Right. You know? And I put more of it on me. I said, look, this ain't about nobody else. This is about me. You know? And yes, there's other people who were part of the overall story. But I said, look, I'm going to point out my scars. I'm going to point out the things that, you know, where I had missteps and some of the things and how I overcame those things. So putting all of that together, but the book just came out on the 3rd. Shoot, man, we've been getting blown up.
That's awesome.
Because now you see it.
Yeah.
Like even the person who did the writing for our pitch, he reached out, he said, no doubt. He's like, because we never got this deep into it. He said, the stuff that's in there, he said, it's undeniable.
With a lot of those challenges coming up, right? But just going back, like what's the one thing that I guess sticks out the most to you that kept you on the straight and narrow? So you didn't land into some of those pitfalls that you felt like you can just run off and go and participate in.
Well, I mean, for me, it got to a point where like some of the things that was going on at home and different things like that. My mom, like I said, this ain't no indictment. It was what it was. I ended up taking a lot of those negative things and flipping it. Like instead of saying, you know what, man, this is how I'm gonna be. This is just how it is. It's bad. Man, woe is me. I said, look, I can't control some of these things, but I can control how I respond to them ultimately when I have my own family. And I said, it won't be this way. My kids will never feel the way that I felt, ever. You know, my home will be structured different. So again, it don't shed any type of negative light on anything. It just says how I took and interpreted and flipped it. Was blessed enough, man, I was like, look, I'm just gonna work hard. You know what I'm saying? I was not great in school. I was like barely, I was like a barely in school. People say, oh, man, you speak and stuff so well. I said, man, no, nah. I said, you go back when I was in high school, I barely graduated from high school, barely. Mr. Creed, he hooked me up. He helped me out, you know what I'm saying? If not, I was finished, you know? But I just have so many people in my life who I think seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. Because although I wanted to venture off into this foolishness, and I was with some of my dudes who was like, they about that life. But they take, nah, man, you go home. I'm like, what you talking about? You trying to little brother me? Man, I'm the same age as y'all. I want to go kick it too. Nah, man, you go ahead and go home, man. Yeah. You know, then I'm hearing the next day in school all the stories of what happened when I went home. I'm like, man, I went in on that. But that's, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of that's somebody just watching over me.
And Coach, I was actually on the Tamron Hall show with my wife, who found her father. I helped her find her biological father at like 23. And to watch that connection where it's not it's two grown people meeting for the first time and all. How was that late meeting where he wasn't bringing you up, but he was, that's the weird part to me. He was bringing you up, but he wasn't your dad, but he was around. So was it different if he wasn't that coach, if Sherm wasn't that dude around you, and how did y'all connect? How easy was it to connect at that age?
Just like you said, I mean, and we talk about runs in the family, we talk about football, and I'll talk to my sons about, I said, just think of so many things, and shoot, we all got these stories, of how football was like the intersecting point on all of these relationships and different things. I said, what if I ain't played football? I never met him. I mean, you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't know what would have happened in life. But when I finally met him as my dad, that was the thing right there. It was like, man, you know what I'm saying? I reached out, hey, I'm gonna come through. I'm recruiting, I'm at SC. You know, I kind of set my recruiting up so I can be out in the Tennessee area, in the Nashville area. And I went over there, man, I just sat outside, I was parked on the street. I sat there for around 10 minutes. And I could see him up there at the door moving around. I'm like, man, first of all, man, this crib is sweet. First thing, I'm like, God dang, man, this crib is laid out. Yeah. You know, and then I walked up, you know, and got on the porch. Man, he opened the door and he just said, my son. And it was over, man. I just melted. It was like I was 5 years old, man. Oh, man. I'm like, wow, it was something, man. I mean, it's because I'd never been addressed by a man.
I called you a son.
As my son, you know, and then to have somebody of his stature and of his level and the love and the relationship I had with him, shoot, man, it was over the top.
You already put him on a pedestal. You already respected him. The hierarchy was already there. What did knowing that that's your dad and that's my son change? He was already coach to
exactly.
you. Like y'all kind of had that relationship, but now you know biologically that that's my dad. What changed with that?
Man, it was the completing of a circle for me. You know, I mean, because, you know, I mean, like any of us, you wonder, where did this come from? Where did my ability to this? Where did my work ethic? Where did these things come from? You know, and it just was like a ghost out there. Like, man, I'm just here, man. I'm having my boys, and I'm super fired up, and I know what I want to provide for them. But I'm like, man, I really like to complete the puzzle, you know. But man, just knowing it was him. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. It was like, you couldn't script anything better. So now our conversations would be, hey, coach, what's up? Hey, man, I talked to him about what's going on with coaching and, hey, how you know, inside zone and, hey, what you think about my, you know, I'm thinking about taking this job or doing that job. Now, anytime we're on the phone, we're talking for a minimum of an hour. You got to be prepared to budget around at least an hour because the conversations not only are that, but it's just the depth, you know. And I think what he did and I did is you realize so many things that are similar. He's sitting there like, whoa, hold up, man. You know, it's so many things that are similar between us, just in personality and just the way we operate. And one thing that stands out, you know, with his coaching, and I did it I was doing it but didn't have a word for it or have a sentence for it, but he had one, which he did, and it went over my head 30-some years ago. He sat in that room before every season, or when he recruits you, or before spring or whatever, when he got the new group of guys, and he said, you may not be looking for a father, but I'm gonna treat you like you're my son. So, man, you go full circle, and I said, well, little did you know. Little did you know. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I was looking for my father. I was looking for my father, and I was your son.
Yeah. You're talking a lot, too, about nature versus nurture, right? He said he called his aunt, and she got to see a picture of you. She was like, boy, that's your son. Don't go waste that good money. You know what I mean? Like that's your child, and I think that's like the beautiful thing. Like I get to watch Jordan all the time, who and it's like, yeah, that's mine. He's staying like me. You see all those things, and like those are things you sort of revel in because that's a gift from God, right? And that's what our children are to us. And you seem so positive about the entire experience. And maybe it's the happy ending, of having someone that is such a high quality human be your father. But your life is totally different if you grow up with Sherman Smith, if you're in that house, if you're not in a single parent household, if you're not seeing abusive men throughout your life, if you're not having to learn to navigate that. Was there ever a point once you did find him where you had to process that part of it, what your childhood could have been as opposed to what it was?
Nope, never. I said, man, it's all part of the journey, and shoot. And my dad said, like I said, and that's something I'm trying to get to. His spiritual faith level is like boom, boom, boom. I'm climbing. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
But he said, man, this is a story for God's glory. So when you look through this, man, and just say all the stuff that I went through, all the stuff, some of it by my own choice, and just the situations I was in, and just the obstacles that I had to overcome. Yes, it made me somebody whose confidence was low, and I always felt like I gotta prove. I done did all these things in ball. I still go there. I'm walking there tomorrow like, man, I gotta show these guys I'm the best running back coach there is out here, period. And when my receipts is long, and it don't matter, that's just how I'm built. That's just how, the experiences I had, how it put me in this situation. So no, to go back to your original question, I don't think about that because I don't want to be disrespectful to how I grew up and the experiences that I had with my mom and how she had to mold me and how my situation and my circumstances molded me. It put me where I am right now.
Speaking of your mom, what was it like when you spoke to Miss Carol, who was actually looking for you and wanted to know where you were as well? You send the Facebook message? You send the Facebook message, you get on the phone, and you guys have like a real honest conversation in the very first conversation. What was that experience like for you, or some of those feelings as you're having that conversation?
Man, my mama is, she's special, man. And when I reached out to her, it was, you've seen it on the thing. I sent a Facebook and I said, sorry for reaching out to you this way, but were you in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, December 1972, and put a baby boy up for adoption? And first thing I got on my phone, it said message read. So I'm like, oh shoot. I'm at special teams meeting at SC. I got my phone, I'm like, all right. And so I just put in there a question mark, like I asked a question. And she said, yes. I got up and walked out that meeting. I walked out into the hallway and I was like, what did you name the baby? And she texted back, she said, not dealing. And so I laughed and I said, understood. I said, what did you name him? And she said, John. And she spelt it the way it is on my deal, Jon. And man, I'd start crying. The secretary standing there like, Coach McCullough, you okay? I said, nah, I'm really good. I'm better than you think. So we was about to have a running back meeting. And I said, look, can I call you later? She was like, what's going on? She's like, what's happening? I said, can I call you later? So went through the rest of the day. The running backs picked up quickly. Ronald Jones and all them guys like, Coach, what's up? And I just broke down. We didn't even have a running back meeting that day. We just talked about this. But that's the relationship I have with my guys. That's the relationship with my guys, man. We talk about it, and these guys are like, those are my guys, man. Yeah. So they had a front row seat to see this whole thing unfold. So that night after practice, Coach, let's break down the whole practice. Like, Coach, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about what happened in this conversation. So after practice, I reached out and I called her, I got on the phone, and man, it's like no time lapse.
Wow.
You know, we were just talking. And I said, you know, where are you? She said, in Youngstown. I'm like, what? I said, where? She told me she was 10 minutes away from where I grew up, you know. She talked about her dad and how much he was into sports. She said, I know he had seen you. Youngstown ain't that big. We had to cross over at some point. So, I mean, it was just a great conversation. She told me how, you know, hey, I was young. My mom, you know, I was at a home for girls. I had you. She said, Dylan, I was not in a position to raise you. So I relieved her of that guilt. Like, you good. You know, it's not a problem. You know, I mean, everything, I'm good. I'm not mad about, I'm happy I found you, you know, but I'm not upset. I don't have any gripes or anything like that to throw at you. Then we just kind of went through everything, you know, and she was like so loving, so supportive. I mean, that phone call was just unbelievable. And of course, she told me everything about my dad.
So what happens when she goes, oh, his name was Sherman Smith?
Oh, shoot. So
She knew automatic?
yes. So I'm on the phone with her. We going through, so just pictures. I'm walking through SC, because this stuff is kind of underground, the athletic part. So I'm walking by the training room. I'm just having general conversation. Like, she telling me about where she lived and this and that. And I'm telling you, yeah. So we get to a spot where you got to come up onto the main whatever on campus. So I'm by myself. And it just happened this way. So I said, well, shoot. I said, you know, I got any brothers and sisters? I said, because Youngstown is small. She's like, no, I never had any more kids, and I never got married or anything. I said, well, shoot, who's my dad? And I just happened to be by myself. All my conversation up to that point, I'm walking by people, and I'm by myself. Just happened to be there, about to come through these steps going up. And she said, your dad is a man named Sherman Smith. And I was like, I hit the ground. And she said, what's wrong? I said, oh, I know him. I know him. And she's like, how? I said, he recruited me. He was my coach, and he'd been my mentor for over 20 years. And she's just blown away. I said, did he know? And she was like, he never knew anything. He was left off to go to school. Never knew anything, so.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
It almost seemed fake. Like, to me, like,
So when you talk about that, so when the story got to Sarah, so a guy who was a fullback at Miami of Ohio, so in the same room with my dad, he told Sarah. Sarah called me with the ESPN people. I tell them the whole long story, everything. It was quiet for a couple of seconds, and Sarah said, this is unbelievable. She just loses it.
right.
She said, we want to do something with this. The next day, they called me and she said, the people above me don't believe this. You got to send us some proof. They didn't believe it. They did not believe it. They said, you got to send us some proof of what you're saying is the truth. We ain't buying it.
Even from those bits and pieces before I asked you about the movie,
Yeah.
I'm like, this will be great. And now I'm like, oh, this is certainly Oscar worthy.
Man.
It is amazing, right?
Freddie C, if you are sitting in the movie,
Bro, I'm
right?
fine.
Like, let's say this. Let's say we
fine.
don't know Coach, right? We don't know Coach. And I'm sitting in the movie, right? And I don't know that it's a real story. When the credits roll, I go, that was cool, but that'll never happen. That ain't real.
Listen.
This is, you know how they say like it's a script only Hollywood could write? Hollywood wouldn't write this. It is that once in a lifetime that something like this would happen. Man, that is such a blessing.
It's beautiful, and surrounding all those circumstances, you know, there are a lot of coaches who just coach, right? Just come in, punch the clock, get out. There are also a lot of coaches that coach from here, that fatherly figure, that love, that tapping into life, want to see these guys succeed more than just on the field. Like, what do you take from your circumstances to pour into, you know, your guys to try and help them maximize their potential as, you know, as a young man and adult, to navigate the circumstances and challenges that the NFL brings?
Well, I mean, you think about when I was in school, I had no thought about being a coach. So I get done playing all the knees, 3 ACLs, I got hip replacement, I'm blown out. So, but I knew I wanted to work in a population like how I grew up. So that was the hook for me, man. I was working at a group home first, and then next thing you know, I'm working at a school in Cincinnati, and I was like, I'm good because I'm around guys who need to hear the stories that I have and be able to use those stories as something that they could use to overcome their circumstances. That's where it started. Those guys was the people there, they were just starting the football program, and they said, man, you went to Miami University, which is right up the street. I'm in Cincinnati. You played for the Bengals. Ain't no way in the world you ain't coaching here. I'm like, nah, I'm not interested in coaching. What I'm doing right here is fine. I'm cool teaching. I just want to influence kids. Right. And next thing I end up coaching. I'm coaching, all right? And then 3 games into, I'm the running back coach. 3 games into the season, the head coach gets fired. I'm the head coach. I'm like, bro, I didn't even come here to do really none of this. Now I'm the head coach. But you know what? It just put me in a more focused stage. Mm-hmm. Although, man, this was a co-ed school, so yeah, I still was teaching, but I was able to have even more focus because I'm like, okay, not only am I helping guys who grew up like me, but they play football too, mm-hmm. you know. So it kind of was. I was scratching a whole bunch of itches there doing that, and then it just kind of went from there. I ended up being the AD there. I was the principal, so I'm over the whole school, and I'm still having that impact on guys. And then, shoot, man, I said, look, I want to reach a bigger population, you know, and the football was the hook, you know, man, and got into it. And so you're talking about similarities, you know, my dad, when he got done playing football, he ended his career too, because of them knees, all right? His first job, first college, when he got done playing football, he was in high school. He's a high school teacher. He's a teacher. I wasn't following him. I'm gonna tell you right now, let's clear that right now. People say, oh man, you was No, I wasn't. I wasn't saying, what Sherm do next? I'm just doing my stuff. This is just kind of where the path took me, right. You know? So, and his first college job, Miami University, that was mine. You know, so it just took off, man. You know, and for me, it never was about yards and all. I knew we gonna hit yards, we gonna hit milestones. But when guys from 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, all my Notre Dame guys, we still group to, everything is still on. You know, everything is still on. The relationships I'm building with Ashton and Raheem and all the guys, Z, all my guys, man. Dylan, CC, you know what I'm saying? I say all their names.
Bring me up.
Hey, they gonna clip it.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
Dang,
Coach,
coaches like that.
We saw the pivot, and you forgot I was in the room?
Nah, man, so giving all my boys love, man. But that's where my most, you know, outside of being a father, you know what I'm saying? That's it right there, man. Just having that impact on guys because I know that I needed that. You know what I'm saying? I know I needed it. It ain't about where I was from. And man, I got guys who they ain't grow up like I did, but that connection. So to me, it's about relationships.
With how you met your parents, and you know how guys act when they get bread.
Yep.
Like you want to take care of mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? You want to, like, everybody feels, you know, that they need to watch out for their family. Do you feel that you have to watch out for them? Do you feel, you know what I'm saying, did mom need a house? Did dad need a house? Did anything? I know
Sherm ain't need no house.
I know Sherm's okay. You just said Sherm was walking through the window and you pointed way up. You pointed way up there.
Yeah, I pointed way up there.
I said, damn, how many stories Sherm got? Yeah. But even like, that, like, with mom, I say with my mom and my family, I felt as if they just gave me $4 million. I gotta give some of this money out. Meeting your parents so late, did you still have that feeling that you had to watch out?
Nope. I mean, my dad's good, so it wasn't even nothing about that. My mom's good. So, I mean, she came up to one of the playoff games, to the national championship game. Yeah. And I got her, coach. Yeah, man. I got her a room, and just through the email stuff, she was like, wait a minute, I thought she sent me the money right back. So even when I attempt to do stuff like that, just kind of impact, you know, whatever. I mean, not hook her up for her birthday and stuff like that. This is natural because I'm a very giving person. But like the over the top stuff, she's good. You know, so no, I feel that way because I'm a great gift giver. They both say that, like, man, your gifts, you got some nice gifts. It ain't about them being money or whatever, but it's nice stuff. That's the type of person. I'm that type of person. But I never felt like, man, what's she about to ask for next?
Make up for loss. I was thinking kind of like you got to make up for loss.
No, I got to do this to try to this. Or no, I never felt that way. Never felt that way.
Well, the other thing is, too, I think and in no way an insult to Miss Carroll or to Coach Sherm. It was normally what makes you feel like you have to take care of them is because they took care of you. Like you didn't have that experience with them. And obviously you have that love for them now, but there isn't that level of responsibility to them because of that. And I think it's beautiful that she didn't come in expecting that. Like that level of awareness and understanding, I think is amazing. You know, my dad is not like a big advice guy. Like he's a very present pops, and he always makes sure like the mood is great and perfect. So anything he ever told me that felt like advice, like I hung on to it, right? Any little nugget, any little gem, like that was something I lived by. The one thing, even before he was your father, he said was, I am not your father, but I'm gonna treat all of you like my son. And it seems like that's the way you run your running back rooms and the rooms you coach in. How cool is it that a piece of advice that was actually from your real father is something that has really guided you throughout your professional life?
Man, you talking about nature versus nurture, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people, you know, when I went up to Seattle for that internship, Spencer Ware was a running back in that room. LSU, Cincinnati, Princeton. And next thing you know, I get the job with Kansas City, Spence is there. And he in the running back room, be like, man, he's shaking, he said, this is just too much for me, man. He's like, you and your pop, he's like, you so much like your pops, man. Because he got coached by us both. Yeah. He's like, man, you so much like your pops. And I always tell people, I got to tell them, trust me, when he was coaching me, I wasn't paying attention like that. I wasn't like, man, I'm trying to mold myself after this dude. No, yeah. I'm like, I'm a freshman, like, bro, I'm hanging out, like, what's going on? And then all my experiences with him was never about how he operated a room, but the biggest thing was the tone that he set. I think that's that little seed that he planted of, you may not be looking for a father, but I'm gonna treat you like my son. And he did. And he did. You know what I'm saying? And that just grew so much into what my coaching, how I coach right now. It just is what it is.
You ever think about I'm sure you do, it's your life. Shoot, I think about it, it's not my life. Like, he left after a year though.
Yep.
It wasn't like you had this incredible college, now you had an incredible college career with 4,000 yards, 30 plus touchdowns, but it was not like he was in the room with you every day for 4 years, coach. You know, like he leaves. And the fact that your lives kept intersecting and he continued to be a part of it, like you said, this is a story for God's glory. For you now, how much did finding out who your father is, how much did that change Father's Day for you?
Oh, it changed it a lot, you know, because, you know, who was I saying Happy Father's Day to? I mean, outside of, you know, just other fathers, Happy Father's Day, I know you're a father, but not, you know, anything that was directly tied to me, you know. So yes, it changed it a lot. It added a much higher level of substance to it, for sure, you know. And just the way I operate in my house with, you know, with my boys and how I kind of put them on a pedestal and how I said, you know what, I want to be the father that I didn't have, like times 1,000, you know. I'm like, man, I never want my sons I want them to know what a present on top of it, Dad, looked like. I didn't have that. So I was like over the top. Yeah. Over the top. And when nobody gonna tell me not to be. Yeah. Yeah. You wasn't telling me, man, it's no. Man, they don't need that. Yes, yeah. Yes, they do. I'm gonna make sure that they good on everything. So yes, Father's Day for me, now that I have a father, you know, that I know who my father is, and I said this earlier, it's like a completion of the circle for me. You know, it's just like, man, you just feel whole as a person because I felt those gaps, and those gaps led to a lot of things, you know, that I had no answers for earlier in my life, you know, just kind of how I was and how I operated and different things like that, and not having that relationship. And who's to say it wouldn't, because I didn't have a father, a present father, especially somebody of the magnitude, because I know if I'm growing up with my dad, Sherm, those issues would
Right.
that would have been taken care of.
And being a coach, because I'd be like, tighten up. Got to tighten your ass up. And my wife's like, no, you're not. Because I coach a little bit. I coach in high school,
I got
whatever.
you.
Do you bring it home? Because I remember my Big Randy, who just passed, my dad just passed, he would say every play, every day. Every play, every day. He's like, we on the field. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Every play, every day.
Exactly.
Does it cross
Oh,
over?
yeah. It's some crossover, but it's appropriate. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I always say, man, you talking about what happened out there. What you eating? You talking about this, what's this? You know, and I'll make the guys, hey, what could you do better? Now, my little guy, he don't like answering them questions. My other guys, I was just part of it. I mean, what could you have did better? You know, but I'm not that overbearing dude. You know what I'm saying? I set a foundation. I set hey, man, here's where the path could be. Here's where this thing can take you. You know what I'm saying? If you play it right. You know, in the worst case could be you get an education,
Right.
which ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is bonus. So that's how I kind of structure things. But I never was like, hey, man, get up. We're about to go work. Hey, we're going to do this and do it. Because I was in the role that I was in, because I earned a little bit. I got a little, you know what I'm saying? Got some resources. You know what I'm saying? I was able to, hey, man, you guys got these camps. There's different things you can do. Hey, you can go here. We can do this. Hey, I'll take you to this. Hey, this stuff we can do at home. But I just wanted to make sure those guys had the infrastructure across the board to be successful.
Do you find it ironic that you're such a good son maker? You know?
I know what makes sons.
Okay, stop it.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
There you go. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Like the room is not. It's not just us.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's all
not
good.
just-
It's all good.
it's but you know what I mean? Like
It's an
to
approach
be
to
able
making
to,
sons.
you know, to having searched for your father and be able to now give that gift to young men in your own household. You know, I just don't think God makes mistakes. I just don't believe that. To be able to know what it's like to be a young man who, not like, they're always saying, yeah, he's searching for himself. No, you legitimately were searching. It's not metaphorical. You were searching for your father. And now to be able to give someone with your own DNA that, like, how do you each day just approach that blessing and that responsibility based on your experiences?
Man, just with gratitude, with thanks. You know, man, when I think about just, especially with the book, because you really get this, it's like, man, see, how did I get here? You know, and just like, man, this is crazy. You know, all the things and the pitfalls and the things I go into. I know my dad, he made the comment, and I run with it. Your scars can become beauty marks if somebody learned from them. So I've been using that approach. I just didn't have a sentence, not a phrase for it.
Yeah.
But I've been using that with my own kids. I tell them, hey man, this is what I did, this, I did. Hey man, I made this mistake, I made that error, made this mistake, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So even in my running back rooms, include that in there. I mean, you're talking about with my RBs, we'll have, there's 4 things I cover with them before we start OTAs or training camp or whatever, spring ball, wherever I've been. You know, what can they expect from me? What I expect from you? How you earn a job? How you keep a job? When I'm going through the expectations for me, one of the things in there, and I think this is it ain't a separator, but it's a thing that makes things more human in there. I tell them what you can expect from me is imperfection. Bro, I don't know everything. And I'm gonna tell you some stuff that ain't, as far as in the process of just learning and teaching in life, that ain't flattering. You know what I'm saying? There's some stuff like, man, I ain't proud of. You know, so man, the guys always say, what's some story time, coach? Give us something. You know, and I run some stuff down to them, you know what I'm saying? But you always bring it back to this is what you learned from this. So it's been good, man, just to be in this position. And like I said, you know, the relationships, just building of young men, the football stuff. Yeah, I want to be the best running back coach in the country now.
We've heard a lot about the relationships and the reconnection with Sherm.
Yep.
Right? But I would assume that Mrs. Dell, your adoptive mother, and Mr. McCullough did an outstanding job. One, because you haven't changed your last name. And
Now you're going into something else, but go ahead.
yeah, so I don't know if you considered that because of lineage and legacy, or have you?
Interesting, right? Very interesting. So my mom is A1 toughest woman, most loving woman I've been around. But for which the sacrifices she made, I can't repay her enough. You know, and she looks at it on the other side like now she can reflect like, man, my sons, I shouldn't, you know, y'all couldn't understand some of the things I said. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. Now, if I was sitting here with a jailhouse memoir, that's different. Like, yeah, man, your foolishness, I'm sitting up in jail. No, so no, it wasn't like that. You know, so she did an outstanding job. My adoptive dad, AC, that's a different conversation. This brother got gone a couple years into it. And the thing is, me and my brother, we sitting up there in Youngstown like, man, we can be bringing some bad stuff to this name now. Because he was a known person. He was a radio disc jockey and stuff like that. And for me, now my brother ended up changing his name once he got like in college. I kept it because I said, he gonna be reminded of what I did with this name. He gonna be reminded of what I did with this name. He ain't gonna be able to dodge what's happening with this name. Like, man, it's this guy doing this and doing that. And at least up until, and he's deceased now, he passed within the last year. He had to face front with that now. We go to the Super Bowl. Man, them people in town like, this your son. Like, he got choked up and he got to answer some questions now.
Yeah.
This son you don't never talk about. You don't never talk about him. So there's stuff there, there's some layers there. So yes, I kept the name. You know, I kept the name when there's people who would say, especially my older brother, like, man, I wouldn't even give him that respect to that, but I was looking at it in the reverse. Like, nah, I'm gonna make this name like really shine, you know, for the right reasons.
Yeah, the reason I say that because I have some similarities that I've never really shared, in that my mother's childhood boyfriend, for the longest, I thought he was my father. And not until later in my life, post-graduation, me and my real father, who my grandmother told me was my dad when I was young, we finally took a leap and took a DNA test. And it was discovered that 99.9999% he was my dad. And I fought those questions to myself if I should change my last name to Knowles. And that goes back to the Bahamian lineage, and we joke about the whole Beyonce thing. My family's Knowles. And I'm like, well, does it matter? Do I want my kids to kind of, you know, be identified as such? I am known as Fred Taylor. All these things kind of circle in my mind. I'm like, you know what? This is who I am, but I do want to pay homage to my father and my family. So I kind of fight that, and I ask my kids, like, what do they think when it's my decision? But it's a process, but I've played that in my head a whole lot, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, so I mean, since, you know, finding out who my dad is and everything, it was like, hey, maybe one of my friends asked me, I said, you know what, at this point, I never really thought about changing my name or doing anything like that, you know, but no, I get where you're coming from with that. But that was my whole thing the whole time. It was like, you take the circumstance, the negative part about it, and flip it. And that was my whole thing. So it's still just like that showing that I can do something with this.
It's funny because talking about football, anytime I changed teams, I went to college, I went to the NFL, they said, what number you want? I said, it don't matter, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make the number to both points. Make Taylor, I'm gonna make McCullough, I'm gonna make the, so I don't have to be 11 or 51 or 56 or whatever. Give me a number and I'll make the number mean something. And that's what y'all did. Y'all made y'all last name mean something.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, Coach, this is, obviously it's an amazing story, but it's a choice to share. It's a choice to share your scars. It's a choice to let people know that though this story had a happy ending, there were some things in the middle pages of this book and some of these chapters that are extremely difficult to live through. What do you want people to learn about your journey, your mother's journey, your biological mother's journey, your father's journey, that they could take away from this that shows them how important family truly is?
Man, you know, that redemption is real. You know what I'm saying? Healing is possible. You know, I think about legacy is something that doesn't happen after you die. It's something that you do while you're living. you know, and I just think about what story are you living and what story are you leaving? You know what I'm saying? How do those match up? I threw that out my backs this morning.
I like
like
that.
I threw that out of the
I like
backs
that,
this morning. I threw that out of the backs this morning. I threw that out of the backs this morning. It was like,
that. Yes, sir.
I said, yeah, do those match up?
Yeah.
Do those match up? You know, so man, you get this introspection when you go back and you're looking at basically your life on the book. Like, man, it's laid out there, especially for a brother like me who's very, very quiet, very much to himself, very private person. So man, I'm like, and I never had no therapy for none of this. That's the part too. It's been rough because I'm like, man, I'm like, you kicking up some dust on some stuff, and I ain't never really processed it through. So now I'm processing it in real time with the world, you know. And some people, I mean, you know, just so as I'm sitting here, somebody might tear that book up, and I got to, hey man, it's this, and just whatever they got to say in there, it just is what it is. And I open myself up for that, you know, and that's fine.
Coach, thank you so much. Like, just for the time, I think people can, one, learn why they should be grateful, and also understand how to live with gratitude. Because it's one thing to have the feeling, but it's another thing to live it, because that's an action. And that's an action that other people get to experience, man. So we appreciate you, bro. Can't wait to drop this.
Yes, sir.
Good.
All right, my dog. Listen.
That boy got a crazy jump cut,
Yeah.
don't he? Jump. Mean.
Man, hey, I'm gonna tell you what, just the way he approached the things every day,
Ready.